Okay, let's unpack this. We have a source here that, I mean, it weaves together ancient history, modern physics, and this sweeping cosmic philosophy.
It really does.
And it's all centered on one entity, the greatest creator.
That's right. Our mission today is to explore this really ambitious set of materials. It redefines everything, from the Egyptian pyramids to, the very nature of time and space.
It offers a completely unique lens to view reality, but it asks you to basically discard every conventional assumption you hold.
Almost everything, yeah.
So if you're someone who loves gaining knowledge quickly, especially when that knowledge just aggressively challenges conventional wisdom, get ready.
This is for you.
We're taking a deep dive into these sources to understand their claims about, well, the origins of life, the secret workings of the universe, and what it all means for us today.
And we have to start where the source starts, the Great Pyramid of Giza. Right away, the materials just dismiss the idea that the pyramids were, simple tombs.
And it's not a polite dismissal, is it? It's a total rejection of conventional archaeology.
Oh, completely. The source says they were built by gods or aliens, acting under direct instruction from the greatest creator. And while they say the Egyptian pyramids are about 12,000 years old, other related structures could be, get this, 2 billion years old.
2 billion. And the purpose wasn't burial.
No, not at all. The purpose was to receive and accumulate universal energy. They were basically sophisticated laboratories and cultivation sites.
For creating life.
For creating life, and specifically for creating humans on Earth. They were massive biological generators.
I think we have to pause on the engineering claims here, because this is where the source uses, hard data to support these huge cosmic theories.
It does.
Take the scale. The Great Pyramid of Khufu, right? 2.3 million stones, averaging 2.5 tons each.
It's just an incredible number to think about.
If you were to move that with modern 7-ton trucks, the convoy would stretch for 6,200 kilometers. It's incomprehensible for the tools they had back then.
And then there's the logistics. They had no carts, no horses.
Right.
Even using logs to roll the stones was impossible. The local wood, like palm, just wasn't strong enough. And the stones came from hundreds of miles away. So the source just says, look, conventional human labor. Impossible.
But the real kicker for me is the precision. I mean, we're not talking about rough stonework here.
Not at all.
The base of the pyramid is over 52,000 square meters. Yet the error between the east-west and north-south axes is no more than 5 arc seconds.
And we should clarify for you listening, 5 arc seconds it's tiny. An arc second is 1/3600th of a degree.
So to visualize that, it's like aiming a laser pointer from a mile away and hitting a target the size of a grain of rice.
Exactly. And supposedly with no modern surveying equipment.
But hold on. If the purpose was just to be a big energy receiver, a cultivation site, why this impossible level of mathematical precision, wouldn't a slightly less perfect pyramid still work?
That's a great question. And that's where the source pivots. It says the insight is that the greatest creator's work is fundamentally mathematical. It's not spiritual or random. And it uses the numbers baked into the pyramid itself to prove this unified design. They argue these numbers can't be a coincidence.
Give us an example of this mathematical encoding.
Well, the source claims the pyramid's weight multiplied by 10 to the power of 15 equals the Earth's weight.
Wow.
The pyramid's height multiplied by 1 billion equals the distance from Earth to the sun, about 150 million kilometers.
And the famous one is pi, right?
That's the one everyone knows. The base perimeter divided by twice the height equals pi, 3.14159. And one more, the sum of the diagonals aligned almost perfectly with the Earth's axial precession cycle.
So the geometry is a deliberate cosmic blueprint just sitting there in stone. And its function, as you said, is energy accumulation.
Yes, and the source says the pyramid acts as a microwave resonance cavity, a cosmic wave absorber.
And they have modern examples to back this up, too.
They do, some anecdotal science. A French scientist named Bovis found that meat in a scale model pyramid didn't rot, it just mummified.
Right, I've heard of that.
And a Czech technician even patented a pyramid blade sharpener, believing the shape focuses energy to keep blades sharp.
Which brings us to the famous curse. The curse of the pharaohs.
Right.
The source says that's really a system of, what was it, divine restraint?
Exactly. The pharaohs' bodies weren't there as revered monarchs. They were a deterrent.
Security system.
A security system, yeah. To scare people away. To prevent humans from getting in and stealing or copying the angel's secret recipe for creating humanity. The curse inscriptions were just part of the warning.
Okay, so if the pyramids were these giant hidden labs, where else did the greatest creator hide these cosmic tools? This leads us perfectly into the next claim, right?
It does.
We're leaving the desert and heading into the Bermuda Triangle.
The source calls it the Devil's Triangle, and it identifies it as another one of these life manufacturing laboratories.
But this one is 2 billion years old.
That's the claim. And crucially, that these pyramid areas were intentionally sunk to the bottom of the ocean to hide them from us.
So the idea is that the disappearances of ships and planes aren't accidents, they're side effects.
Precisely. They're side effects of modern technology getting too close to these massive submerged energy fields that are still active down there.
Okay. So if physical space can be warped like that, what about our perception of reality itself? The source goes right after the phenomenon of the mirage.
It does. It just rejects the standard scientific explanation, light refraction in the atmosphere. It says that's not enough.
Why not? What's the argument?
Well, the argument is about consistency. If the optical theory is true, why don't we see mirages in all deserts all the time? The conditions are often there.
Good point.
And why do some mirages, like the ones at the Penglai Peninsula, look different every single time they appear? A simple reflection should be consistent.
So what's the alternative then?
The alternative is much more philosophically interesting. The source claims a mirage isn't a reflection of anything on Earth. It is the emergence of the Elysium world, a real scene from a 36-dimensional space revealed to us through a distortion in time and space.
The fairyland.
The fairyland, yeah. The true higher dimensional universe just bleeding through into our reality for a moment. And this links directly to this idea of a warped timeline.
This is where they talk about longitudinal and latitudinal time. Can you break that down? It's a key concept.
Sure. Think of it like this. Our normal life-aging, moving history, that's longitudinal time. It's like you're walking along a straight road, the x-axis.
Makes sense.
Latitudinal time, the z-axis, is like stepping directly off that road into another dimension. So when something vanishes from our road, our timeline, it has temporarily entered this parallel latitudinal space-time.
And the stories they use for this are pretty challenging. The one about the Italian passenger plane is probably the wildest claim in the whole source.
It is. The plane supposedly vanished from radar for 20 minutes, but the crew, the passengers, they had no idea anything happened.
So what clued them in?
When they landed, all of their watches were exactly 20 minutes slow. For the rest of the world, 20 minutes had passed. For them, it was instant. They just jumped off the x-axis and right back on.
And the woodcutter story is the reverse of that, right?
Exactly. He watches two old men play chess, and for him, it feels like just a moment. But he sees the seasons change around him, leaves going from yellow to green and back.
And when he gets home?
Centuries have passed in the longitudinal world. These stories are meant to prove that time is flexible, dimensional, and can be controlled by the greatest creator.
And this all leads to dreams. They're given the same status. They're not just fantasy.
Nope. The source claims they are the rehearsal and presage of future events.
Meaning our spirit, or our consciousness, actually leaves our body and enters another time and space while we sleep.
That's the idea. And they cite that classic, chilling example of Abraham Lincoln dreaming about his own assassination in detail right before it happened. They say that's proof dreams are real, predictive events from when we dip into that z-axis.
So the source is basically arguing that the reality we see is just a tiny slice of the pie. It's constantly being influenced by these higher dimensional forces. And if our reality is subject to this hidden engineering, what does that mean for how we've organized ourselves? For things like religion and science?
Well, that's where the source launches into a pretty serious critique of human organization, especially faith and knowledge.
Let's start with religion. The source has a very narrow definition. It says only Christianity and Buddhism are true religions, and even they are flawed. Why just those two?
Because, according to the source, a true religion has to answer the big questions about the greatest creator. Where we come from, why we're here, where we're going.
But the greatest creator didn't create religion.
No. But the truest faiths point towards this supreme being. And any religion with, fixed doctrines, tedious rituals, or leaders who claim to be essential middlemen, they're doomed to fail.
And the future, they say, is a unification of all religions into one belief system.
Yes, a kind of non-denominational spiritual unification. It's focused purely on the greatest creator, without all the organizational baggage. If a religion can't explain the cosmos and the creator's design, it's going to be replaced by pure, unified faith.
Before we get to science, there's a really unique and practical section on compassion. They argue that unprincipled kindness leads to ignorance.
This is a critique of what they call blind compassion, and it's fascinating. They use these very practical examples.
Like what?
Well, if you blindly follow the idea that all sentient beings are equal, no exceptions, then you can't kill a mosquito that bites you. You can't put medicine on a wound because that kills bacteria. You can't even grind seeds into flour.
So kindness has to be based on a non-harm principle that recognizes a certain order, a hierarchy,
Yeah.
not just blanket equality.
Exactly. Kindness must have principle. Without it, you get chaos, both physically and spiritually. And the source really sees this as a failing of modern society.
Okay, let's pivot to science. The source defends science really vigorously. It says science is a catalyst for civilization and gets a bad rap for things like pollution or nuclear weapons.
Right. Their argument is that blaming science for human failure is like blaming a kitchen knife for a crime.
It's the user, not the tool.
It's the application of technology by flawed humans that's the problem, not the discovery itself. And this leads to a very, very specific definition of what a scientist actually is.
That distinction is key, isn't it?
It's crucial. A true scientist is someone who discovers and explains a general law. Think Newton explaining gravity, Einstein with relativity, Madame Curie with radioactivity.
So an inventor like Edison isn't a scientist by this definition.
Correct. He's an engineer, an applicator. He's using a discovered law. He isn't discovering the cosmic law itself.
And this definition is so important because it all ties back to the greatest creator.
It does. The big claim is that the greatest creator created science and scientists because everything the GC creates is scientific, orderly, and principled.
So walking the path of pure scientific discovery is, in a way, walking the path of the greatest creator.
That's the core idea. And this framework is what, they claim, dictates whether a civilization survives or not.
How so?
The source says the rise of civilization depends on scientific progress, sure, but its survival depends on a guiding eternal spirit, meaning you have to recognize the greatest creator.
And the warning is pretty stark. Past civilizations fell when they got arrogant, when they felt they were the greatest creator.
Yes, they lost their spiritual focus and put all their trust in their own technology. The source warns that if humanity today ignores the greatest creator and only trusts in itself, a great crisis could happen.
Something like the biblical flood.
Something on that scale, a force we can't imagine or control. And in this view, just believing in gods or Buddhas isn't enough. Only focusing on the greatest creator and this universal scientific principle can ensure our survival.
So, what does this all mean? The source presents this staggering conclusion. Our physical world, from the stones of the pyramids to the flow of time, is constantly being influenced by non-material, higher-dimensional forces.
And it's all orchestrated by a single supreme intelligence.
Whether you accept that creation is a 2-billion-year-old cosmic engineering project or not, the claims really compel you to look at every ancient mystery through this unified scientific cosmic lens.
Yeah, the precision in the pyramids, the warping of time, the future of our society, it's all part of one grand scientific design, according to this source.
The greatest creator and only the greatest creator is the guiding light for humanity.
Which leaves us with a really provocative thought, one that kind of challenges our whole hierarchy of knowledge.
What's that?
If, as the source suggests, walking the path of science is truly walking the path of the greatest creator, are those who advance scientific understanding the ones who discover these universal laws? Are they actually the people who are closest to divine wisdom?